Texas Tech Week 9, month-long expectations. A broken heart is painful. A multitude of life events can shatter that sensitive and critical human organ. Anyone reading this as a college football fan knows exactly how college football can perform this vile act. A team with such lofty and new expectations falling well short ranks as a heartburn that Tums and Prilosec cannot provide relief for. So as the Texas Tech Week 9 opponent is just themselves in practice, it is time for a recalibration. Joey McGuire's team has shown us who they are, so how can Red Raider fans mend and protect their college football lifeblood? How did the Red Raiders get here? Texas Tech went to Laramie in Week 1, and it just seems like this team suffered a case of altitude sickness that never has gone away. The loss to Wyoming instantly let some air out of the 2023 balloon. However, looking back at the game, turns out Wyoming is a very good team. But it was easy for a still beaming fan base to go, tricky place to play, had a rain delay, looking ahead to Oregon, etc. Then came the big-time showdown against the Ducks in Lubbock. The Jones was absolutely electric, but blowing a two-score fourth-quarter lead stung. Still, seeing the team playing toe-to-toe with a playoff-contending caliber team was positive. The wheels officially came off the wagon when Big 12 play started. It turns out West Virginia isn't the worst team in the Big 12 this season. However, the team that played against Oregon hasn't been seen since. It was a sloppy performance by the Red Raider offense, which included Tyler Shaw suffering a gruesome leg injury. This was also the first occurrence of many in which offensive coordinator Zach Kittley ignored their all-world running back in a critical moment of a game. Ever since that loss, Texas Tech has not been able to establish any sort of momentum, even with wins over Houston and Baylor. Cannot ignore injury bug, but not a worthy excuse. For the second consecutive year, Texas Tech has had to start 3 quarterbacks in the season. Spare me the Ohio State won a natty with a third-string quarterback. Nearly every team every year would be massively limited offensively if the third-string quarterback had to take starter snaps. All of them would be if it was a true freshman. Quarterback Jake Strong has played admirably in his 2 games. And while he has been resilient and gritty, his decision-making has reflected one of a true freshman not ready for college football. But before Strong came in and juiced up the interception numbers, the Red Raiders were having a turnover problem. What we know for certain is the Texas Tech Week 9 opponent will not be able to create turnovers against the Red Raiders. Texas Tech ranks dead last in the Big 12 in turnover margin. Penalties have been more than just a thorn in the side of this team. They are the second most penalized team in the Big 12. In their opening 2 losses, the Red Raiders amassed a combined 13 penalties for 134 yards. In their Big 12 losses to West Virginia and BYU, it was even worse. The 2 games saw 18 total penalties for 176 yards. The turnover margin and penalties are all but wasting an All-American-worthy season by Taj Brooks. If McGuire, Kittley, and defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter could get just slightly more discipline on both sides of the ball, it can make the difference in those one-score games. To save a bowl-eligible season, the Red Raiders have to finish the month of November no worse than 3-1. Road tilts against the Jayhawks and Longhorns will be challenges. Both teams have high-powered offenses. Texas also might be fighting for its Big 12 championship life on Black Friday. The remaining home games are 2 very beatable opponents. Texas Tech has to defend the Jones if they hope to go bowling. The Texas Tech Week 9 pressing question. What should be realistic at this point? It is worth noting not everything is doom and gloom for this program. So far, the slumping Red Raiders have not seen their 2024 recruiting class negatively impacted. That class includes what would be the first-ever 5-star commit to the program in wide receiver Micah Hudson. Also, this team has not given up in the least. While the execution during the latest loss to BYU was frustrating, it wasn't due to a lack of effort. Even late in the game, when the game all but seemed out of reach, the defense was still hustling to the ball. The offense was still firing off the ball. Those are signs of a team still very much bought into this coaching staff and to each other. But it is time to abandon what we thought we knew about this team before September. A bowl berth is going to be hard to come by at this point. This team, while fighting hard, is not executing at a consistent level. The Red Raiders have played significantly better at home, so there should be an expectation to secure 2 victories down the stretch. Finding that critical third victory on the road is just not